Hi, I'm Marcia Eckerd.
And I'm Bernstein. And today we're going to talk about a very important topic, and that is the communication between parents and teachers. And not just the parent-teacher conferences that are twice a year, that's been around forever, that by the time your November conference comes, the parent says, why didn't you tell me in September? But now we're talking about this topic towards the end of the year. Now it's April, May, and then we think it's very, very important.
Right, because at this time of year, there are a group of teachers who've worked with your child for the entire school year, and they probably have some ideas about what worked, what wasn't effective, what issues came
Right.
up, what wasn't, what actually really worked. Maybe there's a teacher, maybe the art teacher really connected with your child. And so all that wealth of information of what worked and what connected and what you saw that worked, or even what your child saw
Right.
that worked, can all be put together right now, not in some fancy IEP form that has, academic language, but some very plain old English document that says, hey, these are some of the things, here's the things that really worked for us. And that's
Yeah.
something that can be brought to next year's teachers.
Right. So this input could come from anyone in the school, or it might be, if you could imagine this, you as a parent could sit down with your kid. Hey, what do you think your teacher should know about you? And just make it kind of a fun thing, and it could be really critical. Your child is more comfortable up front.
Yeah, and often the parents feel that they have to make this real mad dash to get to the teacher at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Notice the fist to
Right.
You have to know about my child. You have to, and it comes from the parent, and the teacher might feel somewhat overwhelmed even. But what we're saying is that the system should be set up so that the parent-teacher team is established at the very beginning of the year, because by law, parents and teachers are supposed to be a team. So there has to be that kind of, okay, we're in this together. Let's get a handle on just where we're starting. And that list from last year might be really important, things from the summer, some ideas from the teacher. And so there's a real back and forth communication at the start of the year saying, okay, we're in this together.
Well, Marcia bringing up something really important, and that is the parents who want to go to the teacher in the very beginning of the year and say, this teacher really should know these things about my kid, but it's not set up systematically. So they feel like they may be intruding. The teacher is saying, wait, give me a couple of weeks. Let me understand your kid. And there's an awkwardness, but it should be part of the routine. Let's have a meeting, teacher, parent, maybe a team of what we know about the child from last year, and just have this going on as a good running start for your kid at the beginning of the year.
Right, and something that's sustained throughout the year. I mean, if you're in a partnership with, a partner, a friend at work, communication is really critical. And if the communication isn't working, then it's both people's issue to try to fix it. And so I think it's really important that parents feel listened to, and parents feel they can share their ideas, and teachers feel listened to. Part of it for the teachers is speaking plain old English, because as a psychologist, I know we sometimes speak psychobabble and nobody can understand us. And so you have to put things in English. And the same thing's true for the teachers. They may be talking about doing something or an intervention or a plan, and the parent has the slightest idea what the heck that is. And so I think that it's really important that the teachers be sure that they're speaking plain old English, and that the parent feels empowered to say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you help me, really understand what you're planning on doing?
You're bringing up something really important, that there's this idea of problem solving among all the players. But if that's what's happening, then what? You want to follow through in a week or two or three, right? You want it to be a continuous, hey, let's see if this works. What's wrong with that? Let's see if this works, and then let's talk in another 2-3 weeks. And have this ongoing communication where everyone is excited about your kids getting a good education.
Right, and what we don't want is that bomb that drops in November. If you came in September and here's my child, and then all of a sudden November, you think everything's okay, and then all of a sudden November, turns out there's all these problems. What we really want is this ongoing effort to really maintain good communication, and that means also respecting each other's boundaries, so that teachers know that parents want information on a regular basis, and parents know teachers want information on a regular basis. So nobody's either under or overwhelmed. It's something that there's expectable that, we're going to be doing this. We might do it more frequently if there's an acute problem, but we're going to stay in touch to keep this team working. I mean, in a business, you don't just meet when there's a crisis. You have
Right.
regular meetings, and
Right.
so this is the business of education, and we want to have these meetings going so the communication is there, the mechanisms are there to solve the problems when they come up.
I love that. I love what you just said. I mean, imagine that the mother's having a newborn. We know, yes, the teacher should know about that. So think, why wait for a situation that's extreme? Let's have this ongoing communication and resolve issues as they come up.
So I think that, the bottom line of what we're trying to talk about is to encourage both parents and teachers to think of the parent-teacher meeting or communication is not something you do in crisis or something you do in a pushing on the other person way, but rather a regular built-in part of the system, and where everybody's responsibility is to make sure it's working well, and where people communicate if they feel it's not.
I love that. Yeah. Well, let's continue another time in the same topic. I think it's important.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.